Hello fellow dragons, it's Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming, and yeah, Nintendo dropped a bomb this week, showing off a few bits and pieces, but one of the more interesting things that they showed was a free demo for the Age of Calamity, the new Hyrule Warrior game. And it is an extraordinary piece of work. It only shows you a very small portion of the game, but it does show a lot of the potential, and it does show a lot of the general things that are contained within the Hyrule Warrior games that are sort of a mainstay and a staple of the game. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll get to the very start of it. Now, as you saw in the opening sequence, it involves time travel. Now, for those that have not finished the Breath of the Wild game, which would be pretty few people, most people that own a Switch and a copy of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. So basically what happens is right at the very last points where the beginning of the end of the entire war and the beginning of the 100 years between the end of where Calamity Ganon begins everything and all the point up to where Link wakes up, you see the very last minutes of the battle. And what happens is that as Zelda is tapping into her power, she basically wakes up this other Guardian, which is unusual because it sounds like a little R2-D2 on a tripod legs, has a little bouncy up and down thing for its head thing, and it has a single swirly blue eye, and it hears Zelda's sort of cry, I need to change everything, so for some reason, it just opens up a time portal, and as it tries to jump through, bits of, I would say, the essence of Calamity Ganon come flying through the portal at the same time, and you're transported before all the main battles begin, even before all the champions that were destined to control the Divine Beasts and everything actually happen, and that's the whole namesake of the entire game at that point in time. It is really well done in the idea that it could potentially, at the end of this game, create a time loop, or it could potentially actually circumvent all the events of Breath of the Wild itself as a time that could have happened but didn't happen because of this particular time jump. So there are boundless possibilities of it. There's also the possibility that the Calamity Ganon would never have got as powerful as it was if this time portal or time vortex wasn't created in the first place. So there's just massive amounts of questions in the lore of this entire game. Now, the lore of the game is basically dished out to you with basic main missions that you go through in different sections, and the story will progress and expand as you do, as you meet the different champions, as you go through different events that show the events that happened in the cutscenes in Breath of the Wild, where you saw Zelda going through all these things to try and understand her power and make sure that she was strong enough to fight Calamity Ganon. But there has been lots of things hinted at here, that we will be battling with Divine Beasts themselves. We will be actually going to Kurok Forest, which was apparently the home of the Master Sword to begin with, and somehow it got back there again before Breath of the Wild happened in the 100-year period, and all these other things. We get to meet the two really weird people that Purina, and I forget the other guy's name, but the other one that creates all the ancient armor and stuff for you in Breath of the Wild. And it's just really cool seeing them and seeing the characters really revamped and just shown again what they were like in their prime before 100 years have transpired and everything like that. It's an extremely really good sort of design and idea of it that I'm really focused on, and I like where they're going with it. As you can see from a lot of the game footage, you'll see how it all works out. Most of it is time button mashing is the best way to describe it, which is like all the Warrior kind of games. They were never designed as something that was designed to be a very specific thing. They are strategically designed as you are going into a battle and you need to go through a battle as a single entity of force, like the mighty hero of eternity, and you're just slicing, breaking, destroying, and just decimating the entire enemies. As you go to certain zones, you'll actually meet up with a higher enemy who is going to be much tougher, much harder to do. You've got to do things to break down their shielding and whatnot until you can just sort of destroy them. You can actually just do the tick for tat thing and slowly hammer them down, but it doesn't always work. Another interesting thing that's been shown about it is that you collect items as you go through all of these battles, and those items allow you to upgrade weapons, upgrade different areas of the map, improve your ability to buy things, your ability to access certain things. It's all very good, and the map system is not the Breath of the Wild map in the same way that, oh, I see that hill over there, I want to go there. No, this is doled out in story-driven sections and motifs that you have to go through in order to get further in the game. But the whole thing is really good. It's very fluid in the hands. It works well with a Pro Controller. It doesn't work too bad with the two handheld controllers and whatnot, but I would recommend the Pro Controller because you're going to be mashing the buttons. The other big change in this is the slate system, where you have access to the slate, and depending on which of the four sort of main fields you use, like magnetics, the bombs, the freezing, or stasis field, will produce different effects on the field in the game as you go through. And each of the characters that you control will actually have different results of how they do things. And I love that whole idea. It's a strange sort of quasi... This is everything that Breath of the Wild had contained within it, but you only got to access it from Link's sort of viewpoint. And now you're given this entire sort of gambit of different skills and different everything. Like, empowers Sheikah's skills of where you can mark an enemy, and once you mark the enemy, collect a mark off the enemy and produce multiple clones of yourself and start attacking with multiples of yourself. Link can literally just pull out his bow and just do a whole shit ton of quick shots at people. Zelda has access to all of the different sort of slate skills at will, virtually, and it's just this whole flow of energy and different things that happen in all parts of the game. The demo will only probably last you, if you want to do it as quick as possible, you're probably going to churn through it within an hour at most, but it gives you a lot of things. And the other thing is, it saves your data. So if you're going to buy this game when you finally sort of finish this demo and the game comes out, all your save data on that demo will be transferred straight onto the game, and you can continue on from there. So it is a really good demo, and I highly recommend that you get yourselves a copy of it and have a play of it and see what all the hype's about, because this story that's in this game that they're making really highlights some of the more interesting things and opens up a lot of possibilities, and I can start to see why they made this game before they brought out Breath of the Wild 2, because this could effectively just make Breath of the Wild not have ever happened. I don't think that's how they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it as a continuation from Breath of the Wild in the sequel, but this could almost come to the point where Breath of the Wild was a thing that happened in a time period that could only have been changed because that time period happened. And then the little guy goes back in time, changes the entirety of the timeline, and thus Breath of the Wild never happened. That is a real possibility, and it opens up to the possibility that different things are going to happen because of this game. So Calamity Ganon will exist, but it will be a different Calamity Ganon. That will be a different thing altogether. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you watched, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell, and I will see you all on the next video. Bye for now.
What?